The Queen's name has been inscribed on a new ledger stone in the Windsor Chapel. The late monarch was laid to rest with her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, and is now alongside her parents and sister.
Well, Buckingham Palace says that the stone replaces the original black slab naming George VI and Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Joining us now in the studio, our royal correspondent, Cameron Walker. And Cameron, as well as the fact that this has been installed, we can actually go ourselves from next week to actually visit St George's Chapel?
Yes, so the Royal Collection Trust announced yesterday that they're going to be reopening Windsor Castle to the public a week tomorrow. So that's the Thursday, the 29th of September. As the entry ticket into the castle also includes St George's Chapel, which we saw on Monday, the big committal service, which we were all watching, where Her Majesty's coffin was lowered into the royal vault, and then a private ceremony afterwards in King George VI Memorial Chapel, where she was buried alongside her late husband, Prince Philip, and her parents and her sister's ashes together.
Right, so they can access the St George's Chapel, but not the St George's VI chapel, which is the private interment area.
Yeah, so usually you can, when you're walking through St George's Chapel, I've done it myself, you can walk past the chapel and you can see inside it, right, but you can't physically walk into it, if that makes sense. It's a very small, small chapel. It's only got one tiny little altar. And then, of course, this black stone slab, which has now been replaced by a new slab bearing the names of the Queen, Philip, King George VI and the Queen Mother, along with the Garter Star, because all four of them were members of the Most Noble Order of the Garter, the oldest and most noble order of chivalry in Britain. So it's all kind of come home because, of course, St George's Chapel is also kind of the spiritual home of the Order of the Garter too.
And Cameron, we're learning a little bit more about King Charles's vision for the future of the monarchy, reading reports about how he wants a slimmed-down monarchy, and also that he is mindful of the need to keep costs for his coronation down too. Tell us.
Yeah, there's lots of reports on this. A source particularly told the Daily Mirror that the King is very much aware of the challenges faced by modern Britons, particularly with the cost of living crisis, with bills being sky high, etc. The cost of the Queen's coronation in 1953 was £1.57 million, or at least that was an estimate. In today's money, that's £45 million.
Wow.
So King Charles III is very much wanting to, yes, keep the traditions of the traditional coronation with the crowning and the anointing, but very much slim down.
This is interesting because at the time, of course, it was a time of austerity, still post-war. I think I'm right in saying sugar rationing had just finished, so there was still hardship. But it was felt that this national celebration with the coronation would be important and would stimulate growth, to take that phrase that everyone's talking about at the moment. So that's not being taken on board this time.
I think it's a balance that perhaps they're trying to strike here, because, yes, you're right, it was very soon after the Second World War where Queen Elizabeth's coronation took place, and it was a big celebration for the country. And I think one of the selling points, as you were, of the British monarchy is that ability to bring the country together, to celebrate all things British and kind of project Britain onto the world stage in a positive way.
As we've just seen in these past days.
As we just saw with that reception on the eve of the funeral with world leaders, as we saw back in June with the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. And I think perhaps they will want to encompass that celebration, but trying to do it in a way which isn't going to damage the public purse quite too much.
Final question and thought. Where's King Charles going to base himself? Will he be based at Buckingham Palace, the palace that we all associate most with the royal family?
So as we understand it, yes, that is the plan, to move into Buckingham Palace as his mother did. But we have to remember, at the moment, Buckingham Palace is a bit of a building site. They're in the middle of a 10-year refurbishment programme, which is only about halfway through at the moment. So I think once that is complete, he'll move into Buckingham Palace. But I think he's very much kind of living at Clarence House, but using Buckingham Palace as the office with the staterooms.
And the other part of that equation, does he then at weekends go back to Highgrove, or does he go back to Windsor, or is the Prince of Wales, William, now going to be based at Windsor?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? We know how much he loves Highgrove, and I don't think he's going to give that up anytime soon. There's certainly been talk that the Prince and Princess of Wales will move into Windsor Castle in due course. Of course, it was only a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, that they moved to Adelaide Cottage, a very small house.
And then the children started a new school as well.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.